Highfleet is a very fun and immersive game, but it can be a pain to deal with when you're a new player. This is because the game does a very poor job of explaining its many complex mechanics to newcomers. So over the course of this series, I want to teach everyone all they need to do in order to become a Master Tarhan at Highfleet. Let's go. Starting off, for those who don't know, what is Highfleet? So Highfleet is a immersive 2D physics-based large-scale combat operations and fleet management sim. Set on a planet possibly tens of times the size of our own, the main preferred method of waging war through the rafterings and long distances in the world of Highfleet have become airships. No, not zeppelins, these things. Turbojet-powered, methane-fueled, lumbering aerial warships, and you'll get to command an entire fleet of them. So, to start off with the basics, Highfleet is split into two parts, the strategical mode and the tactical mode. The strategical mode is where you will be spending 90% of your brain power. In here, you can pause the game whenever you want and stop to command your ships or manage your fleet, gather information and concoct strategies to achieve your goals. Tactical mode, what some people choose to refer to as arcade mode for some reason, is the pew pew mode, where you'll be taking direct control of your ships in real time as you are dogfighting your enemy face to face. Highfleet is at core a strategy game, so let's first of all go over the basic controls of the strategical mode. So this might seem overwhelming at first, and trust me, this is absolutely fucking nothing compared to arcade mode.
Engine overheating. Fuel 30%. Structural damage received.
Neat thing to remember about Highfleet is that anything that looks as if you can interact with it, you can probably interact with it. All of this here is not eye candy, everything serves its very specific defined purpose. Most of what you have here are ISR instruments, or intelligence, surveillance and reconnaissance. I'll go into detail with this in a later episode since their mechanics are quite in depth, but just so you get an idea, here in the top left corner we have the radar. It spots and tells you the exact position of anything that gets within its range, which is denoted by this grey circle around your ships. And just so we're clear, all of these instruments will only appear in strategical mode if the group of ships that you have selected have these capabilities. So if you're controlling a group of ships but none of them have a radar dish, then no radar for you. Next up we have the Elend screen. The Elend screen works passively, warning you of any enemy radar signatures that enter its vicinity, telling you the rough direction and intensity of the radar signal. Right next to it we have the jammer, which we'll discuss in our missile defense video. And moving down and to the left you will see the IRST interface, or infrared search and track. This passively uses the heat emitted by enemy vessels, missiles or planes to tell you their direction and the intensity of the heat. The phone at the top is for opening the radio interface, which you can use to intercept enemy communications by first finding a signal, tuning into it, and then obtaining its direction or bearing in order to save the signal and read out the message. The big red lever is used for controlling the airspeed of your ships when they are cruising. It's usually set to full speed, but you can also make your ships stand still or fly slower if you pull it downwards. Do note that they will consume the same amount of fuel as if they are going at full speed, so it's most efficient to just keep them at full capacity always. Going right of that, you have display telling you all of the ships in the formation which you are currently controlling. And just underneath you have a control panel so you can issue orders to specific ships from your group. And of course above this whole section we have Then at the very bottom you have all of your information, that is how much fuel you have, how many kilometers you can fly with that fuel, how much money you have, repair parts, etc. Also pressing this funny little downwards arrow will bring up the carrier command so that you can issue orders to your planes.
And it's flying higher, king of the sky, flying too fast and flying too high.
Now moving on to the fun stuff, let's talk about the tactical mode. Once you're done selecting the order of your ships, you'll be put into battle and given control of the first ship in your lineup. If you retreat or your ship gets destroyed, you'll then be given control of the next ship in the lineup until you run out. Again, we'll cover this in more depth in the Tactical Combat Guide, but just so you have an idea, In tactical combat, at the bottom of the screen you have these displays showing information about your and the enemy's ship, and at the top left you have your ammo cassette showing you how many rounds you have loaded and ready to fire. Another real-time aspect of the game aside from the combat are landings. Landings have been memed the hell out of for being hard to pull off and very easy to mess up. But do not panic. What you want to do is have as much time to respond to changes in your ship's yaw, pitch, roll. So all you want to do is keep your altitude and descend slowly, and you'll get the hang of it soon enough. All of that being said, those are more or less the basics of what one should know before tackling Highfleet. There's still a very long way to go, but we'll take that on in other episodes, so stay tuned for the next one, which will be the Tactical Combat Guide.